Hi, and welcome to this online session, Introduction to Using Audio with Learners. I'm Caitlin McMillan, a teaching and learning consultant at London CLC and the project manager of Tech Pathways London. In this session, we're going to look at how audio tools and podcasting can be incredibly effective in a remote context. Take 2 minutes to read the session objectives and think about how they're relevant to you and your context. A really important thing to recognise before we go forward with this session is that your home does not have to become a professional recording studio. We will walk through some techniques for capturing and editing clean sound, but at the end of the day, the sounds of the street, your dog, or the washing machine occasionally being audible isn't something to beat yourself up about. Recording audio at home. Some tips to consider. You can use a phone, tablet, or computer, whatever you have access to. The room you're in may affect the quality of the sound. A larger room with hard surfaces will likely result in more echoey sounding audio than a smaller room with soft furnishings and curtains. For this reason, bedrooms tend to be better placed to record than, say, kitchens. Trying different distances or angles from your microphone may fix some issues. Pointing the microphone away from a window, for instance, can help to reduce background noise. Take some time to do test recordings to find what angle and distance works best for you. Have a glass of water to hand when recording, and don't worry about minor stumbles. They can often be dealt with in the edit, but generally, a slip here or there is no big deal. The kit that you have available will determine which app you use to record and edit your audio. GarageBand or Audacity are great free options, and there are numerous other paid or free initial trial options. I'm now going to hand over to my colleague Peter, who's created videos covering the basics of GarageBand and Audacity. We'll start with GarageBand.
So here I am now in GarageBand, and although your setup may look a little different, what I'm looking for is the plus icon to enable me to create a new recording. So that's going to be stored in this case on my iPad. I'm clicking on it now, and that's taken me straight to the audio recorder option, but it may be that when yours opens you'll need to swipe between the available options. Voice icon is down at the bottom of that panel, so clicking on that now, that opens up in Studio. Now it could be, and I can see that the green indicator on the left shows that my microphone is working, but it could be that you open up in the Fun section, in which case you simply need to make sure you've got the clean option selected. Now you'll notice that I wasn't planning on singing for this recording, so if I want to change this option here, I can tap on that, and perhaps more suitable for this particular recording would be the narrator option, and I'm going to click Done now. Now just before I start recording, one thing I need to pay attention to, bearing in mind that this is a musical tool, is to switch off the metronome tick, and I can do that just by clicking on the blue triangle icon representing the metronome, like this. Or if I'd actually like to have a countdown to cue me in, I can go to Settings, and the top item here allows me to switch on a count in, but I can make sure that I've got no sound selected there, and just to be sure, metronome level is down to nothing. So here we are, ready to go now, and I'm going to click on the red record button right now. There's my count in, and this is a sample sound file to demonstrate how to use GarageBand on an iPad. Let's play that back now. And this is a sample sound file to demonstrate how to use GarageBand on an iPad. Now if I go to this view, I will see my selected sound file. And this is a sample sound file to demonstrate how to use GarageBand on an iPad. And you'll notice that I wasn't quite quick enough when I was explaining the countdown, and so right at the start I've got a little bit of sound creeping in before my main words. But if I want to tidy that up a little, what I need to do is to select that sound clip by clicking on it, and I can adjust at the start, this is a little bit fiddly, and remove that initial sound. So let's hear how that sounds now. And this is a sample sound file to demonstrate how to use GarageBand on an iPad. So that's the basic principle. Now, if you don't have an iPad, but you do have an iPhone, it is possible to use GarageBand on the iPhone. So here we are having a quick look at that now. I'm going to click on Create Song. I've got the audio recorder option amongst many other instruments. I click on Voice, and we've basically got a very similar interface, not quite so much detail. I need to remember to switch off the microphone, and off we go with a recording. And here we are with a quick demonstration on the iPhone. And if I go back to the start and play that, and here we are with a quick demonstration on the iPhone. Back on the iPad, a couple more important things to mention. So I've recorded a second sample, but this time with a slight adjustment to my environment, so you can hear the difference. And bearing in mind that GarageBand is a music app, you want to enable your recording to last as long as it needs to. So over on the right hand side you'll see the plus setting. If I click on that, I need to make sure that I've set the section length to automatic. Otherwise you'll find that after 8 bars, or whatever the previous setting is, your recording will stop. So that's a really important one. And by clicking, double tapping on the clip, you'll see some editing options come up, and this time I'm simply going to trim the start and end of the clip as before, and a little bit at the end, adjusting the position, and here we are. And this time, back on the iPad, here's a second sample to show how a variation in the surroundings can change the quality of sound recording.
While GarageBand works brilliantly on mobile devices like iPhones and iPads, there are some additional features if you have access to a Mac. Next, we'll take a look at Audacity. Again, I'll hand over to Peter.
I've got a new Audacity file window open so that I can make a new recording. So I'm going to move over and click on the red button to start that recording. This is a sample sound file to demonstrate Audacity in action. This is a sample sound file to demonstrate Audacity in action. So here's my very short recording. Unfortunately, I did make those ums at the end, and you can probably spot those just here. So what I'd like to do is drag and select this final section And then I'm going to use, for the sake of simplicity now, I'm going to use the cut button up here to remove. And if I now skip back to the beginning and play again. This is a sample sound file to demonstrate Audacity in action. There's my finished sound track.
There are a few things you may need to take note of if using Audacity. Take a look at them here. It may be that you can give a flawless performance first time round, but for most of us, there will be the need for some editing after the recording session. It's worth noting that the benefit of tools like GarageBand is that they edit constructively, i.e., they retain your original and changes are made on a copy. With Audacity, you have a destructive editing tool, i.e., the original is lost. As previously mentioned, it's therefore worth taking a copy before you start to edit. Whatever software you're using, you're likely to be able to do the following in the edit. Select, delete, trim, grab to reposition, cut or split, and apply various filters or effects, e.g. fade in and out or crossfade. There are a few things you can do to make your edit easier and more effective. Record separate tracks for each person speaking, or for music or sound effects. Listen several times and make a list of snags. You'll spot things you didn't the first time round. Everyone ums and ahs a little. It's a natural part of speech. Don't worry about it too much. Similarly, if there's a little background noise, don't fret. Just make a note and see what you can do for next time. Whatever sound editing tool you're using, it's a good idea to export as MP3. It's the best cross-platform sound option. Thanks for joining us for Introduction to Using Audio with Learners. Have fun getting to grips with audio and podcasting, and share your questions and creations with us on Twitter @TechPathwaysLDN.